All right, here we go. Problem number 1. So do you remember AR last year when you were in 6th grade? This is a problem built around that idea. So Gordon's friend Kendrick picked this book, Myopia, to read for AR. He read 8 pages on October the 19th. He begins reading again on October 23rd. He has to read at least 350 pages by the end of the day, October 28th. We're going to figure out how much he needs to read each day. One of the common mistakes made on this problem is students looking at the 28th and the 23rd and just subtracting and getting 5 days. You need to realize there are actually 6 days here. If you read the 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th, 27th, and 28th, there are actually 6 days that he has to read. So we're going to take those 6 days, we're going to multiply it by P, which is, they said, what to use to represent the number of pages, and that has to be greater than or equal to 350. If he reads a total of 360 pages, is he okay? If he reads 380, right? If he's on fire and reads 400, what if he reads 345? Not enough. So now we have an inequality. And we're going to solve that inequality the same way we've been solving equations. In this case, we're going to divide by 6. 6 is the what? Yeah, 6 is the coefficient. Excellent. What does it tell you? What does the coefficient tell you? The amount of what? How many P's you have. So we know that 6 P's, 6 pages a day, or 6 days of pages, needs to be greater than or equal to 350. So if we want to know how much per day, we divide by that coefficient, and we find out that P has to be greater than or equal to, let's bust out our calculator, 350 divided by 6, 58.3 repeating. So if we think of round number of pages, can we round that to 58?
Yes.
Yeah, round it to 58? Let's double check and see if that's true that we can round it to 58. If we had 6 days of 58 pages per day, that would equal 348. Is that okay?
Maybe.
No, it's not, because he has to read at least 350. See, this is a case where even though that 0.3 is, you would say mathematically round it down, logically you can't round it down. So we need to read it, if we're reading and thinking of whole number pages, we need to have him read at least 59 pages per day. This is a case where you must round up. If you were, think back when you were little kids. If you were going to the pumpkin patch and they were driving, they had parents taking kids in cars, and every car could hold 4 kids, and you had 13 children. Well, 13 divided by 4 is 3 1/4. Could you round to 3 cars? You couldn't round to 3 cars. That would only carry 12 kids. You'd be leaving little Sally in the parking lot crying because she doesn't get to go to the pumpkin patch. So there's some times where you have to round up. All right, number 2. What value of x makes this, and this should be the word inequality, not equation, but what value of x makes this inequality true? So once again, we think of, make sure we do the same thing to both sides. We're going to take 7 away from both sides. That's going to cancel here. Adding 7, subtracting 7, that cancels out. So we have 4x less than or equal to 33. Once again, divide by the coefficient to see what 1x is. And in this case, 1x has to be less than or equal to 8 1/4. And the only one of our values that works that's less than or equal to 8 1/4 is the number 8. So you should have answer D. On. So problem number 3, we're back to Joshua and the song downloads. Songs cost $0.25 each. The question is, which of the following represents the songs he can download if he has, and here's what you should underline, if he has more than. So more than, they're saying he needs greater than or has greater than $3. If we look at A shows greater than or equal to $3. What's the giveaway that it's equal to? Yeah, the circle's closed or filled in. Whereas B is greater than $3. C is less than $3. And D is not given. Now, you might be saying, well, you say $3, but that's a 12. Remember, the songs cost 25 cents each. So we need to take the $3, divide it by the 25 cents. And if he had exactly $3 and was going to spend it all, that would be exactly 12 songs. So here where it's greater than 12 songs, that was having greater than or equal to $3. Because the closed circle, like Jill said, closed circle means could be that amount. Whereas the open circle and more says that's more than 3, which is what it says here, more than 3. So the correct answer on this one is letter B. All right, number 4. And 4 was a problem that yesterday when we discussed it, a lot of people felt like they had no idea, but I'll bet after seeing it once, it's going to make more sense now. Remember what we said yesterday? Anytime you have an equation like this, r equals 1/2 x minus 200, if you have two unknowns, there are an infinite number of possible answers. But we know there aren't an infinite number of answers because they tell us one of these 4 answers is true, which tells us we either need to know what r is or we need to know what x is. In this case, we know what r is because they tell us r represents the distance run during the warm-up, and then it says Samuel ran 1,000 yards during the warm-up. So we know that we can rewrite this as 1,000 equals 1/2 x minus 200. We are trying to get x by itself. So we know the first thing we're going to do is we're going to cancel out the 200. Subtracting 200, adding 200, those cancel out. We have to add that same 200 on this side. Now we have 1,000 is equal to 1/2 x. How do we get rid of the 1/2 coefficient? What do we do?
Multiply by the reciprocal.
And what is the reciprocal?
2/1.
Yeah, we're going to multiply this by the reciprocal. We're going to do that on both sides. We're multiplying by 2 on both sides. Here on the left, I can just show it as 2. Here on the right, as Peyton said, we want to show it as 2/1 because we're thinking of fractions times fractions. This cancels against that. We're left with just x. Here we're left with, and I miswrote this, let me write it correctly. It's supposed to be 1,200. 2 times 1,200 ends up with 2,400, or letter B. How many of you had B? Nice. And again, I bet this was a problem that yesterday when you looked at it, it looked really foreign. Okay, continue. So let's go to the back side. Which of the following problems can be solved using the equation x minus 9? Well, Allison is 9 years younger than her sister Pam. Allison's 15. That fits with that 15. What is x? Pam's age. Well, Allison is 9 years younger, so that one fits. X minus 9 equals 15. So Pam would be, how old would Pam be?
24.
Yeah, Pam's 24. And we can confirm that. Does 24 minus 9 equal 15? Yes, it does. So we know A could be true. How about B? David's portion of the bill is 9 more. Jael pays 9, so David pays 9 more. So we've got x plus 9. Nope, that one doesn't fit at all. C, the sum, that's addition, of two numbers is 15. That would be 9 plus x is 15. That does not fit because we need a minus x up here. And finally, letter D, Calvin owns 15 CDs. He gave 9 of them to a friend. How much is x? Well, no. Here we know x has to be bigger than 15 in our original. Here x is less than 15. That doesn't work. Our answer is A. Questions on A? All right. Down to the T-shirt wearing children. So things to underline or highlight in this problem, things to keep track of. 3 children. Each has the same amount of money in their savings account. And we're looking at the actions of one of the children. So one of the children took 25%. A quarter, 1/4 is 25%. So we know that 25% of that child's money is $10. So they took 25% out and they spent it all on a $10 shirt. If 25% of that child's money is $10, how much is 100% of that child's money? $40. 25 times 4 makes 100, so 10 times 4 makes $40. Is $40 our answer?
No.
No, because what do we need to do to it?
Multiply by how many children there are.
Yeah, we have to multiply it by the 3 children, because the question is, here's the question, what is the total in the original accounts, in all 3 accounts? And that total is the $120. How many of you out there had $120? Nice. Nice. Well done. All right, number 7. If you haven't already done so, draw yourself a rectangle. Or excuse me, draw yourself a square. This is important. We're talking about a square here. What do we know about sides of a square? Raise a hand. What do we know about sides of a square?
They're all equal.
Yeah, they're all the same. If this was a rectangle, this would not be a problem we could solve with the information given. But when they tell us square, we know all the sides are the same length. They decreased by 2. So we know that they went through and they subtracted 2 from every side. And after they did that, they got a perimeter of 48. Since all the sides are the same length, we can divide the 48 by 4, and we can see that each side is 12. Our question is, what was the original? So our question is, if S is the original side and S minus 2 gives us 12, which is the new side, how much would S be? 14. And our correct answer is C. How many of you had 14? Well done. All right. We're ready to finish this out. So 3 less than Sarah has. Here's Sarah take away 3. The answer to 8 is B. A number increased by 12. So here's a number increased by 12. Is D the only answer that works there?
No.
Why not? Somebody's telling me there's another answer. Why isn't D the only one?
Oh, no. Because when you're adding numbers, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, adding number order doesn't matter. What do we call that property? Nice, commutative, right. So in this case, either C or D would be correct answers. Because when you're adding, you get to use the commutative property. The order does not matter. Number 10, what number do you add 6 to get 21? B, 15. Number 11, what number do you subtract 2 from to get 17?
B.
Also B. What number do you divide
B.
or do you multiply 4 times? Also B. Yeah. Look at that. Out of these 5 questions, 4 of them were answer B. All right, last 2. Here we go. Last couple. On number 13, we're going to take 8 away from each side. When we take the 8 away, this cancels out. Plus 8 minus 8. And we end up with y is greater than 20 plus negative 8, or 20 minus 8 is 12. Y is greater than 12. And for number 14, again, we're going to use this idea. We're going to add 1 to each side to cancel out the idea of subtracting 1. These cancel out. Just like that canceled out. And we are left with W is less than or equal to 4. So there you go. You can review this as you need it. Be sure you are studying for the test. Be sure you come in tomorrow prepared. You've got your page of notes, and you're ready to be successful.